What's up everybody, Matt Maran here for another quick drive video. So this time I'm in the all-new 2020 Subaru Legacy. So a completely new generation of the Legacy. It's now on Subaru's global platform, and so it gives it much better ride quality just because of that platform change. And this is really a huge change, although the exterior is probably the part that hasn't changed a ton. Obviously it is all new, but it's very familiar compared to the previous generation Legacy. But I mean, all the big changes here are on the inside, starting with this massive, I think it's an 11.6 inch vertical display, and it is really nice. I actually like the way this is set up very, very well. It reminds me of the Volvo system, which I also really like a lot. And so you have shortcuts to some of your climbing stuff here in the lower portion, and then you have this nice large display for radio or whatever. It does have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and you can have that for the top half. And it's actually pretty quick so far in the little bit of time that I've used it now. I only have about 20 minutes with this vehicle, so I'm not going to be able to do an in-depth review like I usually do. So hopefully that'll come at a later date. But it seems to be pretty quick, and I really that is a game changer. I mean, no one else in this segment has a screen that big, and that's a really impressive thing. The tech in this vehicle is top-notch. Another top-notch tech thing is that it has this system that recognizes the driver, and for example, if you have several drivers in your household, it'll actually scan your face and then change all the settings, the climate settings, the seat settings, everything, just by sitting down and turning the car on. And that's something that I'm surprised more manufacturers haven't adopted, because that seems like a very futuristic, common sense thing to add, and I feel like Subaru is one of the first to do it, but I think a lot of other companies will be copying them eventually. And that system also monitors the driver to make sure you're not too distracted, which is also something that's plaguing many people these days in this world we're living in with distracted driving. That is a really good thing to have. And I sampled it last year in the Forester that was all new. Obviously, again, I haven't spent a lot of time with it, so I'd have to, spend a week with one to really get a good feel for how that whole system works. But we're on a curvy road now here, and we can kind of test out the handling of the Legacy. So, it has gotten a tiny bit bigger, and it's set up to be definitely on the comfortable side. This is the limited model. This is the naturally aspirated version, not the turbo one. So this is going to be less sporty, but, it is such a soft, comfortable ride. I think, they really wanted to focus on, what their customers wanted. The previous generation Legacy was very soft and comfortable, and this just makes it even better in that regard. So instead of trying to make it sportier like some other companies are doing with their mid-size sedans, Subaru's just focused on comfort, and that's okay, because a large majority of buyers, that's all they care about. And this whole vehicle just is so comfortable. It's so roomy and spacious too. I feel like I have acres of headroom. It'd be very good for tall people especially, and it's just a very airy feel, with the moonroof and everything, and it just, it's very comfortable though going over these bumps. I mean, this road is all kinds of bumpy and stuff, and it's soaking all of them up so well. And you also have a very soft seat that even has an extendable thigh support now, which is very cool. But just super soft seats combined with this very soft suspension makes for, I'm venturing to say, the smoothest ride in its class, at least in my quick drive here so far. This feels softer than I think everything. Maybe the Mazda 6 gives a little bit of a run for its money, but I think this is actually even softer and more comfortable than that. So yeah, definitely more comfortable than Camry and Accord. Now, it doesn't handle as well as those do, but much more comfortable in many ways. So if that's high on your priority list, then this is going to definitely appeal to you. It's also nice that you can get all-wheel drive in this as standard. You don't even have to do an option box like you do on a couple of the others that offer all-wheel drive, but even that's a very rare option. And so it's great that this is, if you want all-wheel drive, this is probably going to be your top pick already anyway. And as far as handling goes though, with this new platform, it actually is pretty flat too. So you have the super soft, comfortable ride, but I just pushed it around a couple of corners there, and it's still pretty flat. Obviously, I'm not pushing it a whole lot here. We're just at normal suburban road speeds, but it's doing a good job with this type of normal daily driving activity that most people would do. And so other things, while you're doing that daily driving, it has, of course, the Eyesight safety suite, which gives you lane departure warning, adaptive cruise control, all those types of things, and that's all standard as well for this 2020 and the new Legacies here to have that Eyesight safety tech. which is good. I will say that the lane keeping assist system seems a little more aggressive than some, but that is something I think you can either turn things off or custom tailor things if you find any of those features to be annoying or stuff you don't want. But it drives very nicely. But the main thing is, this engine. So we have this newer 2.5 liter engine. It's not turbo though, and it does 182 horsepower and 176 pound-feet of torque, and it's connected to the CVT transmission. And while some other CVTs have now started to try and mimic a normal automatic, this one doesn't seem to try and do any of that. It's still pretty boldly, I'm a CVT, and you make that choice when you buy this vehicle that's what you're okay with. So, the revs are, they kind of wander around more than you're used to if you're used to a normal automatic transmission. And it just, everything is more relaxed. So not only is the ride more comfortable and relaxed, but the powertrain is as well. So as long as you're not in a hurry, you're not looking for something that's going to be super punchy, this is going to be fine. Again, just commuting around, loafing around at lower RPMs, it's totally fine. And again, for most people's commutes, this is going to be more than adequate. And I think that's, again, Subaru realizes what their customers want, and this is what most of them are looking for. And what I think most average car buyers these days are looking for is something exactly like this. And I think this is going to do very well for them for that reason. But as an enthusiast, I do wish that it was a little more, responsive. I mean, throttle response is pretty good. There is a little bit of a dead travel that's kind of built in there, but then, once you do put your foot down, it does rev a little bit, although it will sit in those higher RPMs a little unnaturally at times, but, it's decent punch still. You just have to not be afraid to push the gas down if you need to actually get some forward momentum pretty quickly. But we can even try. It does have paddle shifters here in the limited version, which is appreciated. So it'll have simulated gears. I think there's 8 or 9 of them, but we're in 7th simulated gear currently. We'll go down. Didn't really do anything. Okay, so now I'm in 4th gear, and now it has actually kind of jumped RPMs a little bit, and it will hold that gear, so it's not forcing a downshift or, getting rid of the manual control. It does allow you to have complete manual control if you want, which is nice, because some others will take over for you because it thinks it knows better than you do. So I do appreciate that this will actually lock into a gear, and then upshifts are fairly quick, as far as changing those CVT ratios. So it's not bad. Again, it's not something I would want to use on a regular basis, but if you are yearning for some type of normal shift points, you can always just manually shift it yourself. But I think most people, honestly, even, most people that are enthusiasts, if you're just cruising along behind traffic and stuff, just leaving it in drive and letting it do its thing is going to be just fine. But we'll turn down onto this back road here, see how it does. Alright, so that was like, alright, let's do a little downshift. And then, it goes okay. It wouldn't be my choice for merging onto a highway, but it can do it, just fine. You just have to do a little bit of pre-planning. Obviously, someone like me, I would want to go for the turbo version if I wanted one of these new Legacies. For most people, it's going to be fine. And it also helps in the Legacy that it's, about 100, 150 pounds lighter than the Outback, which is a little heavier and so therefore a little slower. I think the Outback was something around at 10 seconds 0 to 60. This should be a little bit quicker than that, I think. But it feels close to that range, so not super fast, but again, we're talking about a super soft, comfortable, reliable, just relaxed driving experience, and the engine totally fits that, and you're going to get great fuel economy because of it. But we're coming up to a roundabout here, and let's see if we push it a little bit more, how the handling is with that. Okay, so some pretty low limits. I felt the tires getting a little tiny bit noisy, but it does okay. It's actually flat. It just doesn't have a lot of grip. So I think if you upgraded tires or something, you could actually have a little bit of a better performance here out of the handling of this vehicle. But I'm just so impressed with how soft it is. It is kind of crazy. So these are rated at 27 in the city, 35 on the highway, and 30 combined. So that 35 number is really impressive for an all-wheel drive vehicle. A lot of the competitors, even with their front-wheel drive versions, will get something close to that. But to get that here with the all-wheel drive is very impressive. And you also have a standard stop-start system now, too, to help save a little more fuel. A couple other things to mention here very briefly is that road noise is almost non-existent. You have a tiny bit of wind noise, but it's very, very quiet in here. I'm impressed with the level of refinement, honestly. So that's very well done. Other things, you know, that are all about comfort. You have like a Harman Kardon stereo now, which is a nice improvement here on the limited version, and also I think on the touring, and maybe on some other trims as an option. But that's, you know, nice to have a premium stereo option like that. Another thing to mention is the back seat is a little more spacious now, thanks to that longer length of the Legacy here. So you have, I think, a little over an inch of additional legroom back there, and it's noticeable. With my seat being where it is to be a normal driver, I mean, I have about as much rear legroom as you get in something like a Honda Accord or something like that, which is kind of one of the best in the class, in my opinion, as far as spaciousness. Tons of space back there, so that's a really impressive thing. One thing I will mention, though, the more that I drive this vehicle, is this Eyesight thing with the lane centering. It really is aggressive, and I'm not even getting close to the line, and there's times where it's freaking out at me, and so it's a little bit of a hard system to keep happy. So not in love with that so far, but again, I'd have to have more experience with it and kind of dial it in to kind of get used to the, you know, the way that it alerts you and stuff. But I have been getting more alerts in this vehicle than just about any other vehicle that I've been driving today on this WAPA rally that I'm on. So that's kind of an interesting little thing to note. But overall, this is just such a comfortable vehicle. It is, if comfort is your number one priority, that and all-wheel drive capability. But even just comfort alone, like even without the all-wheel drive selling point, just the comfort of this thing, I think you should have it at the top of your list to at least test drive if you just want a comfortable daily driver that's going to be pretty fuel efficient. This is fantastic. You have the great, you know, new tech with this big screen and everything to you know, enjoy and mess around with while you're just cruising around in comfort. They did a really good job with this Legacy as far as comfort goes. As an enthusiast, yes, I want a turbo version with a manual transmission that's got a sportier suspension setup and everything. That would be awesome to me. But those kind of vehicles don't sell. This is what sells, and you know, you can't blame Subaru for going for that. And it's why they've been having record sales, and you know, they've been on a hot streak recently because, you know, they've kind of figured out what their customers want, and their customers are very loyal, and so they want, you know, to make them happy, and this definitely keeps them happy, I think. And having all this tech and stuff is fantastic, and I think that's what's going to conquest a lot of new buyers, is people who are drawn in by this massive screen that you can't get in any of the competitors, or the all-wheel drive that you can't get in any of the competitors, or the, you know, the Eyesight tech and all these other things, you know, the driver recognition system. All those things are very, very impressive, and yeah, if you're looking for something comfortable, I think this is probably one of the best options out there as far as that goes. So anyway, huge thanks to Subaru for bringing this vehicle out to the WAPA rally. Let me know your thoughts here on the new Legacy in the comments below. Thank you guys very much for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Take care.